Hey everybody, this is Lavinia and this is Eat Pretty. If you don't know about that hashtag, then I'm gonna give you some explanation as to why I started it, and then I'm gonna be cooking or prepping as I'm going along, because I have to do more than one thing with food in front of me. So I started Eat Pretty it's almost been about 2 years that I started Eat Pretty. And it was based on the fact that I had a lot of friends who were either vegan or vegetarian, and I was middle-aged. My cholesterol was kind of high, my blood pressure was kind of high, I wasn't feeling too good, so I wanted to eat healthier. That's basically it. For real, that's really basically what happened. So, and the other thing was that I'm black. I don't know if y'all understood that, but I'm black. I mean, I'm light, but I'm still black, and I still wanted to be able to take my grandmother's recipes, traditional recipes, things that comfort food for black folks, and one, make it taste good, because sometimes if y'all see white folks out there doing vegan and vegetarian stuff don't look like it got no taste. And then two, I wanted it to feel good going down. Like, I wanted to be able that people feel good about eating differently and changing their lifestyle. Because it's hard to change and not eat meat, and then you eat something that ain't got no flavor, it tastes like paper, whatever that is. It's hard to do that. And all of us can't afford to shop at Whole Foods, whole paycheck. So there had to be a happy medium for me. So what I did was I learned from local friends, because I'm here in Greensboro. I learned from some friends about where to shop, what to do. I followed Tabitha Brown. I'm not sure if you're familiar with her, but she also has a journey, and she's from Reedsville, and I knew her before she was like big Tabitha Brown, like online that is. And then I just decided that I wanted to be healthy. It was a literal decision. I've been on and off a vegetarian for 20 some years. It's not a big deal for me not to eat meat. The biggest deal was, well, what am I gonna fill myself up with? Because I used to like chicken a lot. Still love my seafood every now and again. Ain't gonna lie about that. But the journey to being more plant-based is I wanted to be healthier than I was before. That's the whole point of it, that I really needed to feel like I'm getting more fruits, vegetables in my body than meats. After doing the research, looking at the Dr. Sebi diet, looking at all of the science, I was like, yeah, no, I got to do better. Because me, I'm gonna live to be 140. I know, that's some grandiose number, but I want to live to see several generations, and I can't do that if I continue to ingest things that don't give me life. So, let's try cooking something. I have a challenge today. This is what's going on. So, one of the producers of the show came by and said, well, what are you gonna cook? And I said, I don't know, just bring me something. The point of that was that, one, we can explore new food. Two, there's always Google to give me a recipe. Three, we balling on a budget. For real. I said this before, I don't have Whole Foods money. I got Food Lion money. I got all these money. I got Super G money. Right, that's my money. That's how I work. So that's really how I work. So if I'm working to stay within my budget, which most of us have, then I can't be shopping at Whole Foods every week, because $10 don't stretch that long at Whole Foods. But it will stretch at Aldi, it will stretch at Food Lion. And so that's what we're doing. I have never done radish chips, but we're gonna work on them, and we're gonna try that today. Radishes tend to cost about maybe $2 or $3 for the bag, if that. And they have a very distinct flavor. So I'm just gonna take them out of the bag. We don't want the leaves. That has nothing to do with what we're gonna work with. And mind you, before I started, I Googled how to make radish chips. So this will go back in this bag, because black folks, we gotta save the plastic bags. You know how we do. So reduce, reuse, recycle. And so all I'm gonna do here is just cut down all of the radishes, like cut off all the stuff. And then I'm gonna slice them into like what would look like chips. The one thing I do know about working with fresh vegetables and fresh food is that it's not gonna look like everybody else's, and you gotta be okay with that. I don't expect my food to look like my friend Monier's food, or when I go to a restaurant, the Thai restaurant, or I go to a soul food restaurant, my food ain't never, ever, ever look like that, and that's okay with me. Cause I got my own style, I got my own way of presentation. Don't let the popularity of cooking shows and things like that, don't let that discourage you from experimenting because your food doesn't look like the plate ready, set up situation for the camera. Some of that ain't even real food. Did you know that? Yeah, right, okay. So that's what we doing. So this isn't hard. This is pretty easy. Woohoo! Isn't this fun? A bunch of radishes. Thank you, Keisha. I ain't never worked with a radish, not like this. I've had radishes in salads before. And what I think I need to do is I think I need to rinse them off really fast, which I forgot to do. So I'm gonna do that real quick. I'm gonna put them in my hands, rinse them off, and I'll be right back. Now they look like something I want to mess with. And since I'm in here, this is gonna be fun. I'm just gonna turn on the oven. I'm gonna hit bake for 400. So hopefully by the time I get back, the oven will be ready. So now that I've rinsed them, you could use a real like slicer, but you know, like those mandolin things, or a shredder, whatever. I'm old school. I didn't have one, so I'm not real comfortable using one. Now these knives, let me tell you the story behind these knives and how much I love my children. My oldest was selling Cutco years ago, a few years ago. And you know, when your kids go have a job, you gotta support them. And Cutco is commission-based, door-to-door, you know, making phone calls and things of that nature. And because I understood the game, and I said, okay, I'm gonna one up and support her. Okay. Not understanding that support was gonna cost me like an arm and a leg. It's all right though, cause she's a kid and I love her. That's not what I'm saying. I just was like, ouch. But the nice thing about these knives, and I'm not really trying to plug them or do anything like that, but the nice thing about these knives that I like is the weight. And also that I've been working with Cutco knives for at least 20 years, because I go back to my aunt's house, she has Cutco. So it's a familiarity thing for me to be working with this knife. And then I don't have to buy no more for the rest of my life. I'm good. So all I'm doing, like I said, is cutting up these wonderful radishes to make some radish chips. The recipe that I found online said to, you know, spread them out, toss them in some oil. They said salt and pepper. Now, I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna use. And I wouldn't suggest doing a whole lot if you're not too sure. Like this bag was perfect because it allows me to experiment. And if I don't like it, I don't feel bad because I didn't like waste a whole lot of food. So that's the other part about cooking and eating, is knowing how to buy. Me, I usually buy for lots of people and then cook for lots of people, but I don't have lots of people in my house unless there's a party. Now if there's a party, that's a different story. But usually I cook way too much because I learned to cook for lots of people. I didn't learn to cook for like one person. That'd be nice. I can, but that's just boring to me. So as my children have gotten older and their tastes have changed, I've learned to scale back on how I cook and what I cook. It's real simple. So my grandmother would be really proud of me. For real. Because I'm sitting here with a cutting board and I have a tablecloth on the table. Yeah, my grandmother would be really proud because I have a tablecloth on my table. I'm using the cutting board. I'm using the knife the right way. Oh, she would be so happy. So they tell you to cut away from your hand, not cut towards your hand, so you don't chop off your fingers. Right. All that good stuff. So I'm just proud of myself right now that I am able to honor her legacy in that manner. Yeah. And it ends up to be about a tray full, so that's good, because more than likely I'm gonna be the only person eating these radish chips in my house, because my kids be like, Mommy, what is that? I'm not eating that. I don't eat radishes. And I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna eat them. And that's one thing that folks may not get. Like in my house, I'm the only one that's more vegan vegetarian. My kids do not eat like I do. I still cook chicken for them, make the ribs, do whatever they want. I still cook that. I still buy that for them because those are their choices. I didn't force them to be vegan or vegetarian. They know the dishes that they like the macaroni and cheese or other things like that. But I'm not forcing them to choose to do something that they don't want to do. This is my choice for me and my life. And if they want to do that, that's wonderful. But if they don't, I still got to feed them. But it helps because I can make things like vegetarian lasagna or the spaghetti, and they don't miss the meat. So I can still get them their vegetables. Because yes, feeding children vegetables is still hard. Mine are teenagers. One of them is grown, and still getting them to eat vegetables is hard. So there's a way for me to get the vegetables in, still meet their palates, and I still have something left to eat. So this is the last one, and then we're gonna do the toss. Yay. Oh, and I also am not throwing this out. I learned from a dear sister here about composting. So I went to Big Lots and they had a compost box on sale, for $5-7. I put it together. I put it out in my backyard. So all of my food scraps, not meat, because meat takes forever to decompose, but all of the vegetables, all the food, I put it in there so that I will be able to use that as fertilizer for herbs that I grow or whatever, so that I don't throw that in the landfill because it's just gonna sit there and rot anyway. I'd rather put it in the dirt and then use it back on my herbs. So that's one thing, I try to live more consciously as best I can as far as sustainability and environmental conscious. It's hard. It ain't exactly easy, but I work to do my part. So this next part is the oil and my super secret I just threw together the spice. This is avocado oil. It's light. Oh yeah, I already opened it. It's light. It doesn't really taste like avocados, but it's lighter than olive oil, and it's not like any of the other oils. I just like the way it works. So I'm gonna throw this in this pan because this is what I had rinsed the radishes in. And then I literally threw this together. Trust me. So what happened was I was going through my spices and they were down the corners. So I put all of those together. So it's a little bit of turmeric, a little bit of sage, some chili powder, some lemon pepper, and some pumpkin spice. I know that sounds like a weird combination. It tasted really good. So I'm gonna put that in the oil, and then I'm going to toss the radishes, and then they'll bake for, the recipe says, for about 20-25 minutes, and then we'll move on to something real simple, which would be the eggplant, or no, the kale. We'll move on to the kale and the eggplant. So no, I don't measure. They're talking about a corner. See, that's what happens when you read other people's recipes. You be like, well, they said a hint. The recipe says salt and pepper. I'm sorry. I can't roll with just salt and pepper. It don't work for me. So I'm just gonna do this. And actually, oh yeah, that was a good amount. So I guess it was about a half a teaspoon. Yeah. And actually what I'm gonna do is just throw these in here, because that makes my life easier. And then I'm just gonna put them back on the tray and let them bake, because they have to have some sort of oil. And like I said, I have never, ever done this. I have no idea what it's gonna taste like. Trust me, it's an experiment. But you gotta learn how to be able to be open to do different things, especially when you're making transitions. Like, that's such a life lesson in that. You never know what it's gonna lead you to. And if you don't like it, you can always choose something different next time. You know what I'm saying? Right. So, quick toss in this, and then I'm just gonna dump them on here. Not super flavorful, just the spice combination is mild, but it's got some weight in the back. I intentionally mix the spices so that they will have a little bit of flavor all over your tongue. I don't like anything to just hit me at the top of my tongue, and then, you know, by the time I get to the back of my mouth, I'll be like, So, let's hope this turns out to be wonderful. But that's what it looks like. And we're gonna just run that in the oven, and it sits there 20-25 minutes. So I'm gonna go put this in the oven, and then I'll be back.
Let's pull out these radish chips. Oh yeah, wow. I'm impressed. Like I said, I've never done it.
All right, so I took them out of the oven. I told y'all they were hot. They were too hot for me to eat. So I put them on a pretty plate, because, you know, I like pretty plates. And now I'm gonna test out and see what these radish chips are really all about. Wow. I'm actually really impressed. I really wasn't expecting to be like, wow. Because I don't, like I said, I've never worked with radishes. I'm really enjoying the flavor, obviously, because I like my spice mix. The texture is great. They're not, because of the way that I cooked them the first time, they're not as crispy, but they're still like a chip. It's more like a potato, like a kind of like a potato. Yep. I can see doing this again. And I didn't even realize that radishes could take on flavors much like potatoes or other more bland vegetables. And there you have it, you know. So, but I'm gonna see y'all next time on Eat Pretty. But I'm gonna keep on eating.